Hi everyone, Mike here, and today I'm going to talk to you about using drafts for lesson planning. At the time of recording this video, I am just starting my 4th week of remote teaching in the fall of 2020. I will just say that the LMS that my school district has chosen is lacking in every way possible, but specifically in the rich text editor department. There is no spelling or grammar check, formatting tools behave inconsistently, there is no in-browser caching of content, so if the service goes down, which it does frequently, or some element on the page causes it to reload, which also isn't uncommon, you will lose all of your work. This is a frustrating and time-consuming experience. Drafts is helping me circumvent all of these issues and save a ton of time. I've been a vocal fan of drafts for the past several years, but this past summer, that has exploded into a religious fervor. By getting more comfortable with Markdown and exploring more of the options in the Drafts action menu, I feel like I can see the base code of the Matrix. Let me show you what that looks like for me as of right now. So here I am in Drafts on my Mac, and I have a blank screen. I will open up the left sidebar, and you can see that I have a workspace for lesson planning. This workspace automatically, based on tags, filters out all of my drafts that are not lesson plans, picking a random lesson from the past few weeks, and this is the Markdown text of that lesson. Everything from the objectives and warm-up through the procedure students will follow as part of the lesson, all the way to the closure and lesson follow-up. While Markdown is pretty easy to read, it's not plainly legible like English, so this action over here will convert all of the Markdown into HTML and copy it to my clipboard. I can then navigate to my school district's LMS, add a new content block, switch to the HTML mode, and then paste the code. It then gets rendered to students as perfectly legible, nicely formatted, numbered steps and bulleted lists with hyperlinks. Without showing you the software, it gets rendered something like this. Writing Markdown in drafts means that I can work on lesson planning from my phone, my iPad, or my Mac, switching between them as needed. I can run them through Grammarly and check for grammar, spelling, and tone, never losing data and always having a backup copy if needed. I believe that's enough to make drafts an essential part of any lesson planning workflow. But wait, there's more. I teach 2 different preps, and I'm providing 2 different lessons for each prep per week. I am also producing an asynchronous lesson for students once a week. So I created an action for each prep and each type of lesson. Each action asks me for specific information through the prompt function in drafts, which then takes my answers to those questions and integrates that information into a template that I created, and then produces about 80% of my lesson written in Markdown. To demonstrate, let me create my first HBS lesson for the upcoming week. So on a blank draft, I will click on the HBS lesson template action. This is week 4 and lesson 1. Because all 3 of my classes are in one group on my LMS, my A-Day and B-Day students see the same page. So I have a start date, which, since we're off on Monday, is Tuesday 09/29/20, and the end date is Wednesday 09/30/20 for my A-Day classes. I use Quizlet for my warm-ups every day, and since I have a teacher account, I can assign certain actions to students for the current vocabulary set. The set we're working on right now is 1.2. Today, I will assign them the flashcards and write activities. I will also put in a link to the current set just to make it easier for students to access. And then voila! There is the majority of my lesson's infrastructure with many specified details perfectly and consistently formatted. I can fill in the information specific to today's lesson, use the copy as HTML action that I showed you earlier, and drop this code into my LMS. No lost data, no rendering mistakes, and perfectly consistent each day. I've also added some text expansion style actions to automate some common text, like this Markdown link to a PDF on OneDrive of a graphic organizer students frequently need to access. or a link to another online service we use frequently. It seems like the sky's the limit here, and I've already begun looking for more ways to use this functionality in drafts. I will certainly share new discoveries as I make them. If you need to rewatch any part of this video, you can use the timestamps in the description below. I hope this video helped you, and if it did, I hope you consider liking, sharing, or subscribing. There will always be more content like this coming in the future.